The University of Maine recognizes that it is located on Marsh Island in the homeland of the Penobscot Nation. The issues of water and territorial rights and encroachment upon sacred sites are ongoing. The Penobscot homeland is connected to the other Wabanaki tribal nations, the Passamaquoddy, the Mausee, and Micmac, through kinship, alliances, and diplomacy. The university also recognizes that the Penobscot Nation and other Wabanaki tribal nations are distinct, sovereign, legal, and political entities with their own powers, self-governance, and self-determination. I just wanted to close for the roll call. Here.
Cynthia Shelmerdine. Here. Nate Fay.
Here.
Memphis Peterson.
Here.
Jordan Thompson.
Here.
Neil Rocky.
Here.
Kate Kemper. Here. Kate Muzzle.
Here.
Samuel Brown.
Here.
Callie Warren. Here. Elizabeth Oldfield. Here. Joshua Cobb.
Here.
Pastor Harvey.
Here.
James Reader Stewart.
Here.
Bo Mishu.
Here.
Meredith Waters. Here. Darren Marjon.
Here.
Kyle Berger.
Deal.
Sean Jernigan.
Here.
Tim Berger. Madeline Howard.
Wait a second.
Michael DeLorge.
Here.
Paige Allen. Miles Moore.
Here.
Julie Miller. Here. Jacob Chaplin.
Here.
Hope Carroll. Camden Olson.
Here.
Olivia Britton. Here. Riley Mills.
Here.
Tristan Friend.
Here.
Amanda Levesque. Here. Jacob Hartquist.
Here.
Hannah Blanchett.
Excuse.
Natalie Pullen. Here. John Guzman.
Here.
Emery Clifford. Here. Cass Balea. Here. Dylan Merchant.
Here.
Danny Tanaka.
Here.
Lori Sedilko. Here.
I'm looking for approval of the 2/14/2024 minutes in this agenda. Senator Oldfield.
I move to approve the 2/13/2024 minutes in this agenda.
If that's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. There is no Robert's Rules tip of the week this week. And for general good welfare, any non-member may address the GSS for not more than 5 minutes. Seeing none, moving on. The new senators also appointed resignations. Chase Emsel submitted his senator resignation. Moving on to club maintenance. Jewish Voices for Peace for preliminary recognition. Is the speaker at this time?
Hello. So we decided that we wanted to start a chapter of Jewish Voices for Peace on this campus. There's already a decades-long tradition of Jewish Voice for Peace across the country, and we wanted to bring it to Orono, where it's the first chapter in the state of Maine. Basically, our mission is just to provide a space for like-minded people that might find their position underrepresented in the broader Jewish community to come together on this campus and just have a space where we can, discuss and learn and advocate for the rights of Palestinian people from a Jewish perspective.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Vice President Kelly.
How many members do you guys have?
We have 10, we have 12 now, right? Yeah, we have 12.
Senator Campbell.
When do you meet during the week? We haven't decided on a formal time yet. We only have some informal meetings, but once we got all of this set up, we are going to be able to figure out an exact time.
Senator Buzzell. No. Oh, Senator Buzzell, I'm sorry.
Do you see asking for any funding requests from us in the future?
Currently, we don't even expect to be collecting dues from our members. The National Jewish Voice for Peace organization does provide funding for activities if we need it. And if we were to ask for funding, we would ask for that.
Please recommendation.
400, lots of pass.
It's the pleasure of the Senate that is adopted. Motion to approve. Senator Bullock.
I move to approve the committee's recommendations.
Second.
If it's the pleasure of the Senate that is adopted. Any discussion? Vice President Vogel?
This club fulfilled all the requirements to be recognized by filling their relationship agreement, fiscal sponsorship form, and maintaining all of the policies that we have in place.
Senator Oakfield?
They also, while presenting at SOC, a very clear difference between them and the other Jewish communities on this campus.
Any debate? Vice President Vogel?
For these reasons, I and the community would strongly recommend passing this organization.
Seeing no more debate, all in favor? All opposed? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. Moving on to our next club maintenance, the UMSG Maine French Club for preliminary recognition. Is the speaker at this time?
Oh, point of order, isn't this supposed to be pre-activation?
Correct, my apologies. Point of privilege, this is not supposed to be on the agenda. There was a miscommunication between myself and Jeff. This is a reactivation, and those get reported through my report, and therefore don't need to follow the club maintenance. Jeff was under the impression that they were doing the reactivation process, which that is not true, not the case.
So, move up next is our guest speaker, Tom Pico, the president / CEO of UMaine Alumni Association.
People here. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll be relatively brief, but I wanted to primarily just come. I appreciate the invitation to be here. Again, my name is Tom Pico. I am UMaine class of 1988, so a little older than the rest of you in the room, but I'm for the last year and a half, I've been the president and CEO for the University of Maine Alumni Association. So I primarily wanted to come here to make sure that you all know that we exist and that we are here on campus and we're doing a lot of things, and that we very much look forward to continuing a strong relationship with student government, and to letting you know that we want to keep in touch with you for the rest of your life. Michael and I were talking about this the other day. One of my favorite phrases about us is that we put the always in the college of our hearts always, right? We are the group that is going to remain connected with you for the rest of your life to keep you connected to UMaine. So just want to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do, and to answer any questions that you might have really quickly. But our mission really is to strengthen the University of Maine by inspiring lifelong connection, passion, and engagement in our alumni community. And our alumni community is quite large. We have around the world about 110,000 living alumni of the University of Maine. So over half of those live in the state of Maine, but the rest are scattered around the country and around the world, as you might imagine. So our job is to, as much as possible, keep in touch with all these folks, let them know all the great things that are happening in UMaine, and to encourage their continued support and involvement to support the university. Our alumni association is somewhat unique among alumni associations. In a lot of universities and colleges, the alumni association is sort of a department of the university, but here at UMaine and at probably 30 other universities around the country, we're a separately incorporated nonprofit organization. So I don't work for the University of Maine. We're our own nonprofit, 501c3, raise money to operate. About $1.1 million a year is our budget. The university provides some of that, and the University of Maine Foundation provides some of that, and we raise the rest. But we have our own board of directors. Actually, your student government president each year is an ex officio member of our board. So Michael's currently a member of our board of directors and has been faithfully attending our meetings, and we appreciate that. We don't charge any membership dues or anything like that. We consider all 110,000 alumni to be members of the Alumni Association, and we certainly invite their support, but they don't have to pay anything to hear from us. An alumni too, you should know, is not necessarily a graduate. We say that anyone who attended UMaine for at least 2 semesters is considered, for our purposes, an alum of the University of Maine and somebody that we want to keep in touch with and keep engaged with UMaine. We have a lot of different ways that we keep in touch with people. Some of the things that you see probably are things like homecoming. The Alumni Association is the hub of activity for homecoming each year. We also, in September each year, do really a separate homecoming, I would call it, for our senior citizen population. We call it our senior alumni reunion. So for those that graduated from UMaine 50 or more years ago, we have a separate weekend for them to come back to spend time together with folks from their era and get re-engaged with the university. So it's really a lot of fun with that group to see people that haven't been here in 40 or 50 years to come back and check out what's going on at UMaine right now. We are online, obviously, UMainealumni.com if you want to check us out online, and we're on social media too. We invite you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and I still call it Twitter, but X, whatever you want to call it, and LinkedIn as well. So, and you certainly can follow us as a current student and keep up with what's going on. So the other thing that we do on campus that has really just been restarted in the last year or so, and you've been supportive of, is our Student Alumni Association, which is a student group that interacts with us and helps us engage with alumni around the country and around the world. So we have an active Student Alumni Association of, there's probably 15 to 20 students that are attending those meetings regularly at Buchanan Alumni House, and helping us out with events and activities that we do. So we're thrilled to have that back on campus this year in an active way. One quick question for all of you here. How many of you have ever been in Buchanan Alumni House? Oh, this is good. This is good. Often when I talk to student groups, there's like 3 people. So I'm glad you know where it is. We love having you there. Another thing that we love doing there, and we're trying to bring back after COVID, is what we call study in a place like home. Maybe some of you have participated in that. But we open Buchanan Alumni House during finals week at the end of both semesters to be a nice quiet space for students to come and study. If the library is a little too busy, you're welcome to come over to Buchanan Alumni House. We're open till 11 o'clock each night, and the staff of the Alumni Association and the foundation bring in home baked goods and stuff like that. And so we really want to make it an inviting atmosphere, and we'll keep in touch with you as finals week gets closer, but anything you can do to help us spread the word about that would be greatly appreciated too. Off campus, we do a lot of events too, primarily up and down the East Coast. Actually, just yesterday, we had 25 UMaine alums gather together for dinner in Scottsdale, Arizona, with Dean Penny Bishop from the College of Education and Human Development was there with them, and Jeff Mills from the UMaine Foundation. So we have alumni events all over. I would say Florida is our Maine has the most alums, obviously. Massachusetts is the second most populated state with UMaine alums, and Florida is third, believe it or not, and skews a little bit toward the retirement age, but we do have about 4,000 alumni that live in Florida, which is pretty awesome. So we go there each year. We're going to be going in the middle of March and do some events down there, but we're always looking for places where alumni live to to re-engage with them and tell them the story. And while we love to get them to come to Orono, we often will go to them if they're a little bit further away. We do twice a year publish Maine Alumni Magazine. We have our most recent edition is at the printer right now. This is the one from last summer, but we publish in the summer and the winter and send this out to about 20,000 people each year. And these are available. I'll leave a few copies on the back if anybody wants to see one, but this is another way that we keep in touch. And it's also on our website too, digitally, if you want to take a look at our most recent magazine. So that's a little bit about who we are and what we do. We have a staff of 9 people that work at Buchanan Alumni House, and our job is to keep in touch with 100,000 people around the world. And so, and soon enough, you will be among them. And so we want you to know that we're here. And you may or may not realize it now, but you're gonna miss this place when you leave. And so it's our job to keep reminding you about why you love it here. And we look forward to keeping in touch with you now as your students and as you go off into the world after you leave UMaine. So happy to answer any questions real quick, but I'll wrap it up from there, so.
Does anyone have any questions for the speaker?
Yeah, so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So the whole process of the Alumni Foundation
Sure.
is basically to reach out in the after we're done,
Right.
right? And so I know that the university is going through like this whole rebrand approach of, you know, trying to appeal to a mass audience, while trying to appeal to prospective students.
Sure.
But the Alumni Foundation, how are they kind of, you know, working with the university directly to kind of appeal also to want to keep kind of that feeling of like, hey, I love this university
Right.
after they graduate.
Right.
Because after you graduate, your feelings are already like cemented on how you feel about the
Sure.
university.
Sure.
So how are you combating the students that are here now, right? The students who are coming.
Yeah, well, one thing that we're doing is engaging with the enrollment management folks to have, especially outside Maine, have where they don't have this much reach with their staff, to have alumni of UMaine represent the university at high school recruiting events and those kinds of things, so that we have alumni that have volunteered their time to go and represent UMaine and tell about their personal experience here. So that's one thing that comes to mind right away. And through something else that we're really trying to expand upon is just what we call the legacy, you know, connections with UMaine, because there's a lot of, and probably many of you in this room that have relatives that attended the University of Maine too. And so obviously that doesn't give you an advantage to get accepted to UMaine, but it does build that, you know, love for the university and loyalty. So we really try to, you know, instill some pride in being a family that has multiple generations that have come to the University of Maine. So those are a couple things that come to mind. But certainly open to other ideas too, so.
I have more of a comment rather than a question.
Sure.
I just want to say that I personally had a great experience with the Alumni Association. I've been to an Alumni Association. I think it was what you're referring to, the senior homecoming. but it was
Yeah, you were on our panel.
I was on the
Yeah, I
panel.
remember, yeah.
I'm a fourth generation UMaine woman, so my great grandmother went here, and then my grandmother, and my mom. And then I received a scholarship from the Alumni Association because of that. And I just think it's a cool organization that gets to interact with students in ways that is nothing but positive.
That's great, thank you.
Vice President Chaplin?
Are there ways for alumni to kind of get like involved with the Alumni Association after we graduate? Are there like
Yeah,
your opportunities, stuff like that?
well, yeah, so certainly attending events that we have. As I said, we are working actively with enrollment management in terms of representing UMaine to speak to high school students about your experience at UMaine. So that would be another way to get involved. And then, you know, we have a board of directors as a nonprofit organization. So those that are really interested in being committed to the Alumni Association, you know, we have a quarterly meeting of our board, and we have board members literally across the country. We have a board member from as far away as San Diego who does come to our meetings in person sometimes too. So, but we have folks from Massachusetts, one from Ohio. So you don't have to live in Maine to be a part of the UMaine Alumni Association board either. So. Thank you.
Any other questions? President Village.
I just have a comment. Thank you again for coming. Also, quick plug for everyone, if you're graduating or eventually when you do graduate, make sure you stay in touch with the Alumni Association so they have your records, so that student government has your records.
Right.
So the student government can keep in contact with you, because the Alumni Association does a lot of work to like keep records of the alumni, kind of like Tom said, and also like help connect alumni back to campus and like even to student groups like I know, we're gonna have an alumni panel later this year, and it's like some of the people that I've met, like through the Alumni Association that are Student Gov alumni that are gonna like continue to stay involved. So like, quick plug, like make sure you kind of do the same thing. Like if you've at all enjoyed your experience, the Alumni Association is like the perfect way to kind of like give back to you, man, if it gave something to you. So thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Moving on to executive reports, starting with the president.
Thanks again, Tom, for coming.
Thank you.
Jeff has revised the list of administrators who receive the minutes each week via email to ensure that they're sent to the correct individuals. I wanted to let you know that that was happening in case you didn't already know about it. I've been working on revising the executive job descriptions over the last few weeks, of which there are 10. This involved me meeting with each member of the executive team and going over each of their individual job descriptions. The goal of this is to revise each line as necessary to modernize the responsibilities of each position. This resolution, all 10 job descriptions passed Polypro last Friday under the stipulation that Sean's legal recommendations could be made before it went to Senate. That's happened, and you'll be seeing that resolution later under new business. I had a meeting this morning with Lori and Brendan Tretchell from CSI about the esports arena and our memorandum of understanding, which expires on March 2nd. I conveyed that we'd like to renew this resolution as soon as possible, given that it expires soon. And we discussed a few other steps in moving forward, including a survey to gauge student interest in equipment and student needs for the esports arena. Keegan and I met this morning with President Freeney Mundy's interim chief of staff, Joe DeSalvo. It was really nice to meet him and talk with him about some of the big student issues going on right now that we've been discussing in the Senate, and also share with him a little bit about student government to kind of like get him up to speed on what we are and what we do. Keegan and I had our bi-weekly meeting with Dean Dana this morning, which was nice as always. And I will be working on revising the interview job questions to be specific to each position, and we'll be kind of modernizing them similar to how I'm doing with the actual job descriptions. I'll keep you up to date on that. Lastly, Sophia's here from Maine campus. If you are an executive, she's looking to do kind of like an exec day in the life of what you guys do. Do you want to say it? You want to correct?
Yeah, okay. So I'm doing a day in the life article simply just for the positions of president and vice president, but outside of that, I'm doing, well, that's what Casey's doing for you guys, but outside of that, I'm doing a more formal job description type of article for each of the executive positions, all 10 of them. And I'm gonna go through the new modernized descriptions and kind of write based off of that. And then I have, you might have gotten it in an email from Camden. I wrote out 3 questions that I'll ask you so that I can also include the experience of the person who is currently holding it, because I know it's opening up, and I think it would just be good if I'm able to quote you all on that, so.
Great, thanks for clarifying. So if you're an exec, just make sure you get in contact with her. Just because we didn't have exec committee this week, I want to make sure we could mention that. But thanks for clarifying. That's the end of my report.
Moving on to the vice president. That's a report I have. I'll be reading it verbatim as Keegan sent it to me. I'm sorry for not being able to make it today. I've been feeling unwell over the weekend, and it has peaked this afternoon. I will rest up and be back in action as soon as I can. I met today with the president's new COS. He was lovely. Another productive relationship building conversation. Next week, CFO Kelly Swartz will be attending the Senate meeting. Get excited to talk about the university budget and such. I will be starting my one-on-ones again for VP. These seem to be well received by you all last semester and help point new senators/reps in the right direction and help me, as VP, understand your personal goals better. I look forward to hearing from members, new and old, about your UMSG aspirations. I'll be sending a Google form soon to get those on track. I'm also continuing work on the Storage Club survey. It will be finalized and sent out on my wards. I will not be back to IT about the email. I'll be done a bit tomorrow about it. Still, I intend to get this figured out and sent to the next couple of weeks. And still, this month is not solving. End of Keegan's report. Vice President for Financial Affairs.
Hi, everyone. I know that we have a lot of new people in the room, which is great. Just a reminder that everyone should be up to date on financial policies. Those can be viewed in the Senate space, cheat sheet versions of them under files, or you can come visit the office and view them in print in person, which is exciting. There was no EBC yesterday because of the holiday, so you'll see nothing from me on the agenda tonight. Just a reminder to representative boards and internal UMSG people who have to submit budgets that deadline is March 8th at noon. If you'd like me to look over your budget or you want help filling it out, please let me know. The chair meeting that I had with Vice President Tripp and the chair president was originally scheduled for last Thursday, but the person from athletics canceled. So it'll be this Friday instead, and a report.
Vice President for Student Organizations.
Hey, everyone. So like was mentioned in Vice President Tripp's report, we are still working on the club storage thing. And that is more to go on that. I'm just waiting on there was some issues with the survey, but that should be all smoothed out. And if Keegan is not back tomorrow, Vice President Tripp is not back tomorrow, I will be sending out that club storage survey, so it will happen tomorrow. For representatives who don't have name tags yet, I asked Jeff what was going on, and he said that he ran out of cardstock. So he got more cardstock over the weekend, and things are being printed, so don't even worry about it. But if you don't have a full name triangle, you will get one. In my more formal report, we have a tabled request for recognition from the Dressage Club due to some discrepancies with the number of members. We have to have 10 to 12 active members, which we defined as like showing up to clubs. And there were some discrepancies, so they will be coming back tomorrow. And then French Club was reactivated through the moratorium policies, as you are aware of, which I mentioned earlier. So when reactivation happened, they just present to the student organizations committee. And they, just get to be, it's a decision of the SOC to reactivate them. And then just because Tom Pico is here, I was gonna say that Student Alumni Association actually just went through recognition process last semester, which was really exciting. So if you're all interested in the Student Alumni Association, they, I believe, take them to certain alumni meetings that they're allowed to go to, and then they also connect them with alumni who are interested in the same fields as them. So that's really interesting. If you want to know more about that, let me know. And then for my club of the week, I chose the Woodsman team. I think they're really interesting, and for no other reason really. But what they say about themselves as a Maine Woodsman team is a co-ed sports team dedicated to keeping old blocking traditions alive. They compete through the Northeast in Canada at these competitions in a variety, including cross-cut, underhand chop, fire build, standing block, and other events. And all these events simulate turn-of-the-century logging activities, which I just thought was very interesting. And with that, I think it's in my report.
Vice President for Student Entertainment.
Hi, so later this week, we're gonna be announcing, no, I'm announcing it now, a student-made short film festival hosted in the IMRC building on March 28th. There's gonna be some kind of prize for that. I don't know what it is. I think Hope is making a poster for us, which would be great. Thanks, Hope. Next, I've been working on the second show of the Maine event series. Maybe you will hear about that soon. I don't know though. And we are looking at getting food trucks on the Maine Day of Service week. That's what it's called now. So
No, it's not.
what is it gonna be called now?
It's called Spirit Week and the main day of service is Wednesday.
Okay, so sometime near then. End of report.
Vice President for Student Leadership.
Hi guys, Student Leadership Committee will be meeting at 11 tomorrow to discuss the leadership retreat, the student speaker showcase, planning some collaborative events with some other groups on campus, and the Logic Model Project, kind of getting to that as well. Finalizing a date for the leadership retreat, it's either gonna be Friday, March 22nd, or Friday, April 4th. Depending on the career counselor's availability, expect a kind of finalized schedule for you guys, by the end of this week, sorry. I'll be meeting with Ella Wu, the student success coordinator from the International Students Office, to continue our conversation from last semester about increasing involvement in student gov and leadership on campus among that group of students. And I'm also going to be attending a panel with Representative Guzman next week on the same exact thing. The Student Speaker Showcase will be taking place in Wells Conference Center on Thursday, March 21st from 2 to 4 p.m. Applications are now open to be a speaker at the event, and they will be open until next Friday, March 1st. Feel free to apply, anybody here. And please share with your respective organizations. It's a great opportunity for a club to do a group presentation, so if you're a rep, consider talking to your org about that. The SharePoint site for the syllabus repository has been set up, so I'm going to be playing around with that this week and figuring out the logistics to that, and starting to draft the policy that's going to outline how that'll work in the future. Expect some cool things in that in the next couple weeks. And tabling Friday from 11 to 1, mostly to give out merch if you want to join me. And
Advice of the student government.
No report.
Are there any questions from the speakers at this time? Representative.
Yeah, for VP Chaplain. I just got a question about the speaker showcase. Is it gonna be publicized via are they gonna be recorded? Are the speakers gonna be recorded?
most likely not, just because I don't think we really have the capabilities to do that. I'm gonna look into it when we get into the actual planning of the day of the event. We haven't gotten that far yet, but it's a possibility, but as of right now.
Questions? Seeing none, moving on to periodical reports. Faculty Senate Student Representative.
No report.
University of Maine Board of Trustees Student Representative.
Hello. I am in touch with Kelly Sparks for my ASA presentation, I'm doing dining, which I've mentioned, and she's working on a student input survey that is also being created with student input that I'm hoping to be able to include in my presentation. Also, there's an investment committee meeting a week from tomorrow, I think, and the materials for that, if anyone is interested, should have been released today. I just checked and they're not out yet, but they should be there soon. Also, I had an interview with Maine campus about my position and how to get in touch with me. And I don't know, it's all stuff everyone here knows, but if you wanted to read it, it's out there. There are some things that I said in it. Yeah, that's all. End of report.
Chair of the Fair Election Practices Commission.
So I met with the candidates and have been soothing out issues or questions that we've had thus far, but I can't disclose what those are. I communicated with VP Chaplin and we put the debate advertisement in the newsletter. I met with DOT Mills and we talked about putting election stuff on the website. And tomorrow I'm meeting with DOT Carroll to film an election video to put on the Instagram. I met with Maine campus with Sophia and we talked about debate coverage and candidate profiles, post and pre-election. I finalized debate placement with the school administration. I got the paper ballots from Jeff and I have to fix them because he had them in a funky format, but we souped it out today and it's all good now. I started creating the Qualtrics poll for this year. And then I'm also gonna put it on a QR code so that you can in the dining hall, you can see the QR code and you should be able to scan it. So that should be interesting. So as many people vote as possible. So I'm planning to communicate with the school administration about advertising the election itself. And also I'm going to EBC to move money so that there's more money in the inauguration ceremony. And then I'll be able to advertise it more efficiently without money, without having to print out posters. And I talked with Dan about the inauguration ceremony and he said he's willing to speak at that again. And then I've also met with a lot of people to talk, or not a lot of people, 3 or 4, to talk about holding my position next year. And so if you are at all interested, send me an email or a text and a report.
Student legal representative.
So I met with Sean today. He's got 2 court cases this week. One of the things that we're working on is advertising his services. So if any of you guys, what we were thinking of doing is maybe a presentation or a clinic series about a specific area of the law that's particularly pertaining to UMaine students. So if you guys have any ideas on topics tenant rights or stuff like that, please send me like a Google chat or something. I'd really appreciate it. We also discussed the medical amnesty policy for the university. And can I just do like a quick show of hands? Like, who's familiar with what the medical amnesty policy is? Okay, yeah, so I wasn't either, but it's a student brought it to Sean's attention. He's looking into it with us. So President, Mr. President, sorry, reaching out to you about that if he hasn't already. About like potential issues with it and what should be done. He's also helping student groups get their contracts lined up for stuff like the drag show, hair care fair, and all.
Representative to the Graduate Student Senate.
So I forgot to do this formally, so I guess, but I do have to resign this position because my legs are too short to get from the Graduate Student Senate meeting to my lab on time, and to get from my first class to the Graduate Student Senate meeting. But because I forgot to resign yesterday, or today, you have a week to ask me questions before it becomes, up for the Senate next week, and a report.
Autumn Town Council Liaison.
So municipalities were closed yesterday, no report.
Old Town City Council Liaison.
Municipalities were closed yesterday.
Representative of Military and Veteran Student Affairs.
Hi, everyone. I met with the Veterans Lounge on Wednesday and I have a spot secured for the polling that I was gonna put up. I've been in contact with Carrie LeBray, who is an ROTC student liaison, and has informed students of the student speakership showcase. When I contacted Nori Jones, like I said last week, she informed me she retired and cannot help me. So she gave me someone else's contact. I'll be messaging them tomorrow. I also contacted Lisa Morin, who is in control of the Maine Day events, to see if the veteran flag replacement can be an option for students to volunteer for on that day. However, I wanted to make it clear that my intention for this project to state that I would like to make a standing or permanent connection with the school and the service. It doesn't necessarily have to be between Maine Day, but I had the conversation with the ROTC program and the Veterans Lounge that this is something that they would be able to achieve. And when I messaged Lieutenant Colonel Bevs in an email after I met with him in person, if he was interested in offering this as a volunteering event for his cadets, but he replied to my email without recognizing my 2-paragraph request. I also contacted my town sexton, my mom, about the American flag suppliers for the tombstones as requested by Mike Smart. And I will share this information with the American Legion Post in Orono, as the sexton informed me that they're their supplier. And I will call them and submit a formal letter of request with for the supplier to be changed. I've been encouraged by the Veterans Lounge and my mom to contact local Girl Scout and Boy Scout troops to pass off the responsibility of the Veteran Flag Project. I recognize that previously being a Girl Scout for 13 years, that these ceremonies are recognized as a badge and a valuable service opportunity to Scouts as it involves them in the greater community. However, the addition of multiple third parties can make this project even more difficult, and I'm not at that stage where I'm capable of accommodating for more people. In later weeks, I hope to add the military and veteran spotlight where I do a short interview with a student within this demographic to let everyone know here what their daily life entails on top of being a student, to help give perspective to us in the Senate. And I forgot to add this in my report, but next Monday is when I'm starting my speeches with the ROTC before their lab.
Director of Communications.
Hi, everyone. This week I'll be working on the promotional materials for the film festival that VP Moore mentioned. I'm also, as Chairman Olson already mentioned, working on advertising for the election and making a video for important information the student body should know about the election. And moving forward.
Director of Technology.
No report.
University of Maine, Center for the Undergraduate Resource Liaison.
No report.
Are there any questions for the speakers? Vice President Allen?
I have a question for Chairman Olson. When is the debate?
I can tell you, but I don't want to be wrong, because I
February 26th.
Yes. It's just that I can't I have a thing with dates, but I'll talk about that later, but that's correct.
What time?
5 p.m.
Follow up for Chairman Olson, where is the debate happening?
Neville, 101.
Thank you.
In the big lecture hall, and it will hopefully be live streamed, because where is Neville? I mean, if you're really curious, you can look at it, there's a map on the UMaine website.
Any other questions, advice to local?
Just wanted to follow up about the medical amnesty thing. I wrote that and it's a program, it's not a policy. But if anyone has any further questions, it basically says that if you're transported and you're underage and you've been using substances and it's your first time, that you can have a essentially good get out of jail free for conduct, not for the police, but for conduct, so that we will make sure that you're taken care of. You probably need to talk to somebody about drinking because you're probably not very good at it if you got transported for it. But essentially, it's a Good Samaritan program where the person who helps you is thanked and the person who is ill gets help. Just wanted to follow up.
Any other questions or speakers this time? Seeing none, moving on to reports of standing committees, marketing and public relations,
No report.
membership,
No report.
policy and procedure.
The committee met this past Friday, deciding to move on from the city government liaisons conversation, which if you didn't know what that was, there was different ideas on what to do with the Orono and Old Town City Council positions and whether or not to expand it or consolidate it, but we're not discussing that anymore. Polypro also discussed and passed President DeLoach's amendments for the executive job descriptions with the stipulation that our attorney read the resolution and give his notes on it before I can send it to Jeff, which that's all been done, and President DeLoach can elaborate on any of that in new business. Polypro also passed another resolution amending the hiring policies with a similar stipulation. However, that stipulation was not fulfilled in time for it to be on tonight's agenda, so at the very least, it'll be at next week's Senate. Later this week, Polypro will be presented with a resolution amending the standing rules regarding the role of the Assistant Vice President of Student Entertainment. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or any ideas for potential business for Polypro, please let me know.
Political activism. College Democrats met last week and were visited by Sarah Marks of the Orono Town Council, who discussed matters relevant to college students who live and work in Orono. They're working on efforts to pass the referendum in March that will move the election date forward in the year. I spoke to Anthony, the president of UMaine College Republicans today, as they were tabling in the union. He said that they have about 4 to 5 active members, so they cannot do too many events, but are working on recruitment efforts and on getting their social media up and running. I have not yet spoken to the leadership of the College Libertarians, but I'm working on establishing a connection with their organization. The Political Science Department is now taking applicants for the 2024 Grattan Prize in Constitutional Law, which is an annual up to $4,000 award issued for an essay dealing with outstanding questions in constitutional law. More details can be found on the department website and the report. Services.
Hi, I met with Dick Young today, and here are some of the things we discussed. Meet Dick Young and a bunch of other people who head auxiliary services. I brought up with the Estabrook closure and how Wells is not going to be residential dining, but more of a retail concept. And I brought up, have they been addressing this with like the flow of students eating at dining halls? They have. So the university is going to address this problem by having a meal plan exclusive to students in the H2O complex, which will include 120 meal swipes, $1,500 of meal plan dollars that can be spent like at Bearsden and Wells. Bottomless Kiwi Bot subscription and 2 guest meals, 2 go meals, 1 per dining period, either pickup or delivery. The price will be $3,000 per semester. And then I asked further about the Hancock and Star renovations. They will be done by this summer. These renovations include 16 single-use bathrooms for Hancock. The first floor of Hancock will be just like Estabrook's with full-size beds, deluxe singles. Star will have more single-use bathrooms added. And then University got a bunch of money to further renovate buildings, is putting money into a bunch of future projects. But on top of that, other buildings that will be worked on this summer will be done in Gannett, Cumberland, Somerset. The lobby of Rustic will now look like Kennebec. Many bathrooms
were reported to have very slippery floors, so they will be added, a more, you kind of describe it as like a sand aspect, like a much harder type of floor, so we put up slip instead of tiles. The flooring in the whole building of half will be replaced, part will be replacing the walls, windows, and stairways. Future plans will include the potential demolition of York Village, Libby Hall, East Annex, and South Annex. And then, while this is gonna be in the project in this upcoming 3 years, but essentially next fall, a housing study will be started. A company called Scion will do surveys of students and assess the state of the housing buildings. They will be reviewing national trends plus what our students want. With those two factors, they will make a plan with these two perspectives on how to upgrade buildings, figuring out which buildings are worth the money. The survey will start next fall, and be student driven. This is overall a long-term project. And then I also talked about equitable access and following up what Keegan suggested, that Dean is looking to making the opt-out process mandatory through Main Street. Also, he is looking to the Main Street page could provide links to an FAQ of equitable access when people are making decisions to opt in or out, and a comparison bar between the cost of individual books and the cost of equitable access. He's looking to connect with Res Life and do a presentation during RA training so RAs can help their students. The focus of this information campaign will be on students making an informed decision on whether they should use equitable access or not. Also, on Thursday at 4, they're having a focus group with 8 to 9 different students through different colleges to they're pre-picked students that are like, they're gonna do a focus group on different colleges and their perspective on equitable access. And that should be everything. Yeah, end the report.
Are there any questions for the speakers this time? Senator Oku.
So the renovations on housing, was that like a specific as our time, like that, just sometime in the next 3 years sort of thing?
Oh, what do you mean, like renovation, like the future, future renovations?
Yeah, so they just
That's gonna
started
be-
in the next.
That's gonna be in the course of the next 3 years, and they're starting next fall with like a survey to actually figure out what they will be doing with the money.
Yes.
So like, just to add on to that for clarification, and Senator, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but because Estabrook is closing for dormitory use, they are going to be renovating Hancock and I believe Stoddard this summer. Everything else is more long-term. They're doing that to kind of like supplement the like upgraded housing that is currently in Estabrook that they're removing.
Yeah, well, that, Gannett and Stoddard will be done. All the other ones I said, like Cumberland, Somerset, Lobby, Aroostook, that will also be done this summer. The ones I like specifically pointed out, what all of those will be done this summer.
No questions. Representative.
Commercial. Yes, this is directed to Senator Michaud. Michaud, my apologies. So you mentioned that the demolition of the York Village, is that like set in stone or has that been floated? So I have multiple questions after that.
Those are looking to be demolished because like a lot of those offices that are in those places right now are gonna be moved to Estabrook. They're old buildings. And they said that they were slated for demolition like 30 years ago, and it's just, they've been looking to tear them down for a while. It's not for sure. It also comes with like I said, they're doing a big assessment of all the buildings on campus, and some of them will be torn down and those are the ones that are being eyed for potential demolition. Doesn't mean they're gonna be torn down, while that is very much in the future.
So sorry, I have a follow-up question with it, if I'm sorry to speak.
Sure.
Okay, sorry. Well, the Blackbird Exchange resides within the York Village. Since, if those plans are gonna be coming to fruition, do you have any idea about where the Blackbird Exchange will be placed and will be in a more centralized location so that all students are able to access it by walking distance?
I'm pretty sure that moved, if I'm not wrong.
My apologies.
My privilege.
point of privilege, it is now up on Rangeley Road where the UCU building was. Like up by the astronomy center, that's where the BBD is, that's also where SAS is. Also another point of privilege, East Annex is officially, like, I've heard that it's going to be knocked down because we are part of Trio and that is one of the few buildings that, as far as I've been made aware, they've been eyeing for a while, so that's another point of privilege.
Any other questions for speakers? Senator Bill.
For Senator Micho, just concerning the housing and their renovations, is Stoddard not just for graduate students, not available to undergraduates?
He didn't say if it was or not, but his Stoddard will have honor students in it, so I think there will be honor students moving to Stoddard.
Senator O'Toole.
Do you know for sure Wells is only like dining dollars and not meal swipes?
Yeah, it's completely retail.
Oh, okay.
Senator Wilson.
So will honor students now also be going to York and Stoddard and Valentine, Coleman and Knobscott?
I don't know where the specific, I don't know where, I'm not for honor students, I don't know where they are now or where they're gonna be going, but I'm not sure of that.
Any other questions? I strongly encourage you all to join the services committee if you're interested in these projects and being able to have out that regard. With no more questions, I will go on to reports of special committees. Starting with academic affairs special committee.
Sorry, Jeff, I just found this out like an hour ago. Well, first off, if you're not in the academic affairs committee group chat and wanna be in it, please tell me. It's a Google group. And then my academic affairs committee meeting may be canceled or moved for this week because of a time conflict. End of report.
Student mental health committee.
I see that that's written down wrong here. I think that's changed to me, but so for the student mental health committee today, I have a few things in mind, which first I would like to mention that I am planning on having the committee meetings on Fridays from 2 to 3 p.m. I'm not sure of the location yet. I'm going to request that we can use the Mind Spa, but I'm not sure if that might already be used for something else. So the location is to be determined. If anyone would like to be part of the committee meetings, you can either reach out to me to my email at emery.clifford@maine.edu or come and see me during the recess or after student senate. I've also been looking into what sort of events I can report to you guys and things like that. One of the things that I would like to mention first, I'm not sure if many of you might already be aware of it, but the Mind Spa has a new space now. I'm not sure the room number off the top of my head, but it's just a couple doors down from where it used to be. It's a bigger space. They have a lot of stress reducing resources, other like mental health resources, lots of good calming activities. I'd also like to mention to everyone that they have massage chairs, which is the first time that I was able to use one. They're very cool, lots of fun. They're starting to put on some events and things there. I was able to go to the friendship social last week. That was fun, very calming, nice community space. One of the things that I know that they're doing is tech-free Tuesdays. Another thing that I would like to mention is that the Wilson Center has plenty of events that I would say definitely align with helping boost mental health, including meditation on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, meditation on the path on Wednesdays. And there are also events on Sundays, which are very much in line with mental health, including community nap time and mindful movement events. I've also been made aware that in addition to offering individual and scheduled counseling, that the counseling center has events that they host. So I am planning on going to the counseling center this week so that I can let you guys know about what sort of events are coming up. Next week, as was already mentioned, student accessibility service was moved to the UCU building. Black Bear Exchange has moved there too. I didn't know that, but for anyone reiterated. And Trio, which also offers counseling for people who are in that program, along with some other accessibility things, has moved to I believe it's Alumni Hall. Another thing that I am looking for and gathering for reports in the future is I will be looking for exercise-related clubs, activities, and events which can be beneficial to students' mental health, because I really want to take like a holistic approach to mental health. Yeah, I think that's all for my report this week, and just once again, I'm hoping to do committees, or I'm planning to do committees on Fridays from 2 to 3 p.m. Starting this week, and if anyone would like to join those, just let me know, reach out to me so that I can get your email and I can add you guys to let you know where the location.
Says Emery, like
Questions are at the end of, oh, here's the sorry. It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, so yeah, that's the report.
Okay, it's all good. Undergraduate students is on the STEM committee. No boy. Food and Dining Affairs Committee.
Okay, hi everyone. So last Thursday, Senator Waters, Michaud and I met with the Sodexo heads at York during a tabling to discuss changes they've made. Mainly, we discussed lack of options for people with dietary restrictions at Hilltop and how successful the U Cook station at York has been. For all the Hilltop diners here, you'll be glad to hear that the burger station is back to self-serve, and the ability to build your own sandwiches, so like cold cuts and sliced bread is back. If this sounds familiar to anyone, yeah, this is literally what we had in September, but I'm glad we went back to what works. They are planning on setting up screens in each dining hall where people can text in feedback, which is sure to go great. Senator Waters and I also reached out to the Sodexo heads to hear about the plans for Wells Dining. The biggest things are that it is going to be a retail concept similar to the Bears Den or Hilltop Market with a 24/7 autonomous store. And there will also be higher pizzas for purchase and carry out, which is apparently something I'm supposed to be excited about. My committee will be meeting this Friday at 12:30 in the Wade Center directly after academic affairs, which apparently might not be happening, but I know a lot of you that have reached out to me about my committee can't make this time, but I will be sending minutes into Senate chat afterwards, and I'm planning on working on our own version of the dining survey for students. If anyone has any questions on anything I discussed or would like more detailed reports on my discussions about York or Wells, please email me in the report.
Are there any questions for the speakers this time? Senator Boyd.
This is directed at Representative Clifford. When is community nap time?
Community nap time are Sunday at, do you know?
It's every second Sunday at 2 p.m.
Every second Sunday at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Every second Sunday at 2 p.m.
Also, the question about your email, so it's EMERY dot, is this Clifford, like?
Yellow, the bigger dog, CLIFFORD.
Okay, is it like 2 Fs in Clifford or just 1?
2 Fs.
Any other questions on this side? Senator Brown.
To food and dining. Like an autonomous store, like they mentioned something about an autonomous store, people go in and out, but like, so will it just be like, will anybody be operating it, or?
They are using Amazon technology where, I don't know if you guys are familiar with how those Amazon Go stores work, but you would tap your main card to swipe into the store, and then anything you grab off the shelves, there are sensors and cameras. And when you leave the store, your account is automatically charged.
Senator Waddles.
If people have expressed interest, I can screenshot and send the exact wording of the Wells email, which lays out exactly what will be in Wells and when the timeline is for that to the Senate group chat, if that would be appreciated. Okay, cool.
Yes. Any other questions at this time? Seeing none, moving on to representative board reports, starting with commuter and non-traditional students.
Hey guys, how's it going? This last Wednesday, I went to the Veterans Lounge between 11:30 and 12:30 to spread cans awareness to the veterans. I just missed you, Cynthia. I think you mentioned you were doing the something at the Veterans Lounge this last Wednesday. We had our first meeting this Friday, where we had 6 members in attendance with a 7th who was dropping in and out. Honestly, I call this attendance an accomplishment because we had a snowstorm and it was a holiday break. So it was really good to see people coming out. During this meeting, we talked about ways we could improve commuter life. One of them was establishing a suggestion box, which will be in the Wade Center this week, as well as a QR code for those who want to provide online suggestions. We are also looking at 3 new members who joined CANS. And we are looking at creating a Bangor liaison position with CANS as an entity. I'm having office hours this Thursday between 12:40 and 3:40. And I'm also looking at trying to get more people involved with CANS who aren't necessarily CANS students, but want to help commuters. So if you're interested, please stop by. Beyond that, we are also trying to get Instagram more involved in people's lives in terms of CANS, because let's face it, there's a lot of flyers, but I want people to look at CANS and actually hear what we have to say and try to help commuters. So please spread the Instagram around if you haven't already. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Honors College Student Activities Board.
All right, hi everyone. So as of about probably an hour ago when we entered, I got the information, but we had our raffle today for the Maine Day Meal Pack out. And to say that was success is an understatement. I found out that we met our 50,000, there we go, 4 zeros, meal goal today. So that means that we made over $600 today. 200 of that was in raffle money, and then 400 came personally from Dean Dana coming up to our table. So thank you, Student Life, for $400. But that means we've met our goal and we've surpassed everything that we've been hoping to do. If you're interested, we will be tabling again in the Union next week, probably looking at Wednesday and Thursday. And we'll be doing so until spring break. One ticket is $1, which pays for 3 meals that we will be delivering, and then $5 is for 6 tickets, which pays for 15 meals. So if you break it down, literally, it's $1 pays for 3 meals, and that's 33 cents a meal. So you're doing like really good work. We're also looking at getting volunteers to do setup and cleanup officially now. I'm not sure when we're gonna be reaching out, but that will be our volunteer coordinator, Ashley Reagan, who will be reaching out to people. And on March 7th, myself, Dr. Melissa Ladenheim, the Assistant Dean of the Honors College, Senator Callie Warren, and SAB Secretary Ruth Griffith will be going to the Old Town Rotary Club to talk about our experiences with the Maine Day Meal Pack. I am going to be speaking about my first Maine Day Meal Pack out, which was my freshman year, and so we will be speaking about that. As for Honors College events, our first event is collaboration with the Honors College as SAB will be March 6th from 3 to 5. And then our first individual event is Spring Self-Care in Colvin Hall, which will be Wednesday, March 20th. So if anybody's interested, you're more than welcome to stop by. We will be doing rock painting because we all want to keep painting. As for that, that is the end of my report.
Interpretation Council.
Hi everyone, so right now we're in the process of setting up a brief newsletter that we sent out in collaboration with Panhandle, and I'm meeting with Lori, FSL staff, and Dean Dan in the coming weeks to discuss how we can continue improving curriculum.
Panhandle Council.
I have that report. Just let me pull it up. Representative Blanchett is out sick today, as apparently a lot of people are, so keep yourselves safe, whatever that means to you, I don't know, wash your hands, maybe wear a mask, who knows. But the Senate report says that
Alpha Fees philanthropy event is Thursday, March 7th from 5 to 8 at Orono Brewing Company. This is their classic mac and cheese. It's a big hit, with me. And, Representative Hartquist and I herself have a meeting with Dean Dana next week to talk about improving replay. I don't have any elaborations on that at this point.
When was the mac and cheese?
Thursday, March 7th from 5 to 8. According to the report I received in my email.
Yes. Senior Class Council?
So we're having a fundraiser at Chick-fil-A in 2 weeks, March 5th from 4 to 8. So either go before this meeting or go after if we get done early. We are finishing up the final details of senior week and plan to post them on our social medias shortly. And there are 74 days until graduation. End of report.
Student Athletic Advisory Council. Just a couple things. I think men, women, swim and dive, our season is done. No more swimming. We finished that like last Sunday, so like a couple days ago. Indoor track and field has their American East Championships like right now, so they'll be done soon. We'll be transferring to like outdoor track and field. Other than that, we have the Scholar Athlete Ceremony coming up in like a week on a Tuesday. So I will probably not be here because I have to be in attendance for that. And move forward.
Are there any questions for the speakers this time? Seeing none, moving on to community association reports, starting with Student Heritage Alliance Council.
Yeah, hello everyone. During our last meeting on Wednesday, Shaq discussed each organization's prominent events for the year and the general welfare of like what each organization wanted to get out of Shaq. Yeah, this is like mainly for like yearly budget and kind of like wrapping our head around like what specifically we want on there. Shaq members voted to induct the South Asian Association of Maine, or otherwise known as SAM, into the constituency with a 700 ought to pass. Shaq members voted for the Asian Student Association Public Relations Officer Tiffany Ha to be the Public Relations Officer for Shaq, which was 701 ought to pass. Moving forward, Tiffany and I and any affiliate of Shaq interested in obtaining training to edit the website will do so once I send that email to marketing communications. Shaq also voted to pass a letter in support of the Wilson Center's proposal to the Maine Community Foundation for a commercial kitchen that we all agreed to pass, 800 ought to pass. Taylor Ashley, our advisor, and I signed off on the letter. Furthermore, Shaq voted to support a letter or initiative by ISA to include kosher or halal dietary options on campus with an 800 ought to pass, which Representative DeMerchant will probably talk about in his report. To go into club reports, CAUSA had a huge success at their fundraiser that happened last week. They broke even and raised money. Friend Club will be doing a joint event with Farag on February 29th at Forish. If Senator Oldfield would like to add on to what was said, because this is what I have from the minutes. BSU will have the hair care fair in collaboration with CAUSA, March 2nd from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the Willie Wool Room in DTAG. I know that flyer for registration times is coming out soon. Priscilla is in the works of making that. Sam is planning a holy celebration for the future. Hello, success with their Shabbat dinners. If you want to sign up, they happen, once a month, twice a month, every Friday, and there is a stipend. ASA's New Year was a huge success, just like to add on from my last report. So apparently they had over 100 people in attendance at their event. And then Japanese Club will be running an event with IEI about international students learning English on the 24th.
Comments collected?
Okay, hi everyone. To start off my report today, I would like to mention that due to the holiday on Monday, President's Day, the Feminist Collective did not have and will not be hosting a weekly meeting this week. Additionally, there have been some scheduling conflicts with the Feminist Collective members for our meeting times versus the classes, which has had some complications and resulted to a lower attendance than we'd like. To address this complication, I have emailed our members a when to meet form to try to reschedule our meetings to a more accessible time for all who wish to attend. So if anyone is interested in being able to attend our weekly meetings, but was unable to go to our previous time on Mondays, then feel free to reach out to me via email during the recess or after Senate, or check out the minutes from the Student Senate report, because I provided the link for the when to meet form on there as well. Sorry, I lost my place. Okay, so yeah, that when to meet form is out. I would also like to mention that I was not here for Student Senate last week because I was staffing Healthy Six Mingo, which the Feminist Collective collaborated with the Center for Student Involvement on last Tuesday. This was my first time staffing a Mingo event, and it was really fun, really amazing. If we do something like this again, I definitely suggest like any of you to check it out. We had around, from what I was told before we had the direct numbers in on campus groups, I believe there was around 100 folks in attendance, and everyone seemed to have a really great time. I thought it was very successful. As for upcoming events, the thing we have coming quite soon is the Vagina Monologues film showing, which the Feminist Collective is collaborating with Triota, the WGS Honor Society here on campus. This film showing is on February 23rd from 1 to 2:30 p.m. in Memorial Union, room 223. I would also like to mention to you all that we are not just showing the film. This is the first step in our little series for the Vagina Monologues. After the film showing on that day, we will be sending out a Google form to students, for students to audition to the Vagina Monologues performance. And we will be hosting that performance near the end of March. We don't have an exact date or location yet, but we are looking into different places to where that can be performed on campus. I would also like to mention now that in addition to the ability to perform some of E. Ensler's original writings from the Vagina Monologues, we will also be encouraging and welcome students to write and perform their own original pieces in relation to their own experiences to allow for the expansion into a more intersectional approach. This is especially because the Vagina Monologues, when it was written, did not, Ensler was not able to interview trans and gender non-conforming folks, so we are trying to make it more accessible for a more wide range of experiences to be shared about. And yeah, I believe that's all, but we are, just once again, we are going to be trying to reschedule to a better time for more folks to be able to attend due to class scheduling errors with some of our folks who were able to come to every single meeting last semester. So if anyone's interested in that and has input for when they would be able to meet, if they'd like to come, you can check out the minutes, come and see me and let me know, or send me an email and I will send that one to you. Yes.
Hi everyone, auditions for the drag show are February 29th. That is a Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. in the IMRC, room 104, or it's also just called the performance room. Beginners are welcome. You're not required to have a full routine at the time of your audition, although you do need to have one by check-in a week before the show. Video auditions are also available. You can either send to my email or our secretary's email. cassandra.robin@maine.edu. So, if you know anyone who's interested, let them know. And the actual drag show will be on March 30th at 7 p.m. in the CCA. And the work for that is ongoing. We're filling up our paid performers, just negotiating some money stuff. And report.
International Student Association.
Good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to say from in regard to previous meeting, thank you everyone who voted in favor for the emergency budgeting. No, that's me, I'm so sorry. The emergency funding bill. As I stated in the main motion, I was going to bring in information just for transparency. So just for everyone so they know. So the money that was used was for 6 people in Turkey, which was going to be $340. For Cambodia, it was going to be for 13 people, and it was going to be up to 217. For Denmark, there was for 4 people at 260, 90 for 4 people in Vietnam, and 4 people for $110 for the Philippines. Again, thank you everyone who had voted in favor of the emergency funding bill. We used all the money that was needed possible for this bill. For the costumes for the event. And I know that the person who's in charge of the meeting minutes, yes, there is $17, but we received a gracious donation of $17 from a donor that I was not told the name. But either way, thank you again so much for this bill. In terms of International Dance Festival, I'll talk about it again. So the event is going to be having its first tech rehearsal on Thursday, and then we're going to be having our dress rehearsal on Friday. And then the actual event on Saturday, which has 2 times at 2 and 7 p.m. If you can join, that would be great. We have 20 performances with so many amazing, lovely people. I implore you all to attend if you can. In terms of what I was hoping to do with the food and dining committee, I had reached out to the local mosque in Old Town as well as the Wilson Center, contacting the Mahram from the local mosque, which is for anyone who's not familiar with, it's an Islamic scholar. He reached out to me, but I'm still waiting to hear back from Rabbi Gregory Gorlick, who is from the Wilson Center. Aside from that, and a report.
Are there any questions to the speakers this time? FEPC Chair Wilson.
Representative the Merchant. Which Saturday is that dance festival? Is it this upcoming Saturday or is it the next?
It is this coming Saturday.
The 24th?
Yes.
Alright.
Are there any other questions this time to the speakers? Seeing none, if it's the pleasure of the Senate, we'll be moving into a 5-minute recess, reconvening at 7:23. We're now moving to new business, 45S POL 23. Is there a speaker at this time?
All right, hi everyone. Riley, can you screen share this ASA? Oh, it's.
Yeah, no, it's.
All right, sorry. So what is loading on the screen right now, as I mentioned in my report, is a resolution to amend the job descriptions of all 10 executive members. So there are copies of it over on the table unless they've all been picked up. I'll wait as soon as we get it up.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
There we go.
So the resolution starts with amending the wording of executive pay to clarify the pay structure of student government. I'd like to clarify, this does not change how much money executives make by any means. All it does is simply fix the wording of each job description to make it more clear to a prospective applicant how their pay is structured. If you'd like me to read these individually, I'm more than happy to, but I think in the interest of time, it would simply make sense just for me to say that the current wording is base pay rate for the year, half fall, half spring, bi-weekly. That's Pam and I thought really misleading, so we wanted to clarify that. So for example, all vice presidents and the president, their new job description pay will read $510 bi-weekly, that's untaxed. 15 hours per week at $17 per hour. So that clarifies to a new applicant how our pay structure works, how much you make per hour, and how much money you'd be, or how many hours you'd be expected to work per week. We separated that out for all executive positions, DOT, DOC, ABPFE, BPSE, and FVPC, too many acronyms. And then on the next page, towards the bottom of the second page in bold, struck through text and bold text include any changes made. So throughout this document, you'll see struck through Student Government Inc. or Student Government Inc. replaced with UMSG Inc. just as like clerical error that's being fixed. To the president job description, I added lead and direct organizational alumni engagement and outreach. Like you heard Tom speak about earlier, the president of student government has an ex officio seat on the Alumni Association board. I thought that this is an important thing to add for the organization and that the president is the best person to do this responsibility. I also wrote consult with the UMSG Inc. attorney on organizational legal matters, as is important and has been done this year, and I was surprised to not see it in the job description for my job. I also added under line 2, in addition to chairing student government cabinet meetings, that they should chair all meetings of the executive committee. Point 9, I added the president of the, that should actually be amended, apologies. Line 9 should be amended to read, the president must sign all resolutions in their final form after having been approved by both Senate and cabinet. So if someone could make a motion during debate to amend that to remove the words of the GSS in line 9 of the president job description, that would be great. The next line highlighted was at the recommendation of Sean. And I'd like to amend the financial policies in a future resolution to have this be able to go into effect. But for now, this line will read, address any legal or audit emergencies during vacations at the advisement of the UMSG Inc. attorney or the assistant vice president for financial affairs, should they arise. So this is like a big, I'm not gonna go through this line by line for the rest of the resolution, it's like 15 pages, but this is a big one, so I'm gonna explain it. Basically, the president of UMSG Inc., again, which is a nonprofit, is not paid during the summer. I'd like to change that so that they could be paid should an emergency arise. And that emergency would be like deemed by the UMSG Inc. attorney or Pam as the AVPFA. Again, related to any legal emergencies that should be handled over the summer or any audit emergencies that should be handled over the summer. So assuming that the financial resolutions would be amended, this line is in this resolution. Moving on to the next page under vice president job descriptions. It removes some wording about basically lines 6 and 7 simply updates the way that we do nominations and elections, just how we've done them the last 4 years. And surprisingly, we're never in the vice president's job description. That's just updating. Line 9 was made at the advisement of Sean. It reads, shall supervise the executive administrative assistant, which is Jeff, and the UMSG Inc. clerk to ensure that the minutes from the meetings of the GSS are properly recorded and filed. That replaces an old line that the vice president should basically like be in charge of record keeping, which we do not do. Line 10, the president of the GSS must sign all resolutions in their final form, having been approved by both the Senate and cabinet. Just housekeeping, we already do that. The vice president shall be responsible for inviting guest speakers to meetings of the General Student Senate. Formerly, the vice president was in charge of the retreat. We've now switched this. So the vice president is in charge of the guest speaker series and the VPSL is in charge of the retreat. So you'll see that when we get there. Next page, under VPFA, we added that the VPFA shall not only advise the president of student government, but the General Student Senate and Executive Committee on matters of financial importance. Line 5, that they shall report not only appropriations made by the executive committee, but also discussion and debate in meetings. Line 10, similarly, given that the BPFA handles all financial matters, we added that, per Sean's recommendation, the same line that would be added to the president's job description, that they handle any emergencies. This is the same wording, but any audit emergencies or legal emergencies as they arise during the summer or on vacations. Next page, under BPSC, line 3 was struck because it was redundant. Line 7 and 4 were clarified. So line 4 basically says that they shall oversee student entertainment programming for the organization here. And then line 7 says that they should assist with various student entertainment efforts at the university, basically coordinating with other departments that handle student entertainment. Line 9, CSI was formerly called CASE. That's been amended to read Center for Student Involvement, parentheses, CSI. Also, line 12, if you read that, it has a bunch of like miscopied syntax. I caught that earlier, and that should read, instead of the jargon, it should read quote, how to, end quote. So if somebody wanted to make a motion to amend that, in this line 12 and then the next line 12, that would be appreciated. PSO, line 6 was struck since it is elsewhere. That would be specifically, if you're wondering, in line 2. At the recommendation of Sean, line 9 was amended to read, with the approval of SOC, with consideration made to legal liability and student safety. He thought that that was an important thing to add. On the next page, under BPSL, almost done, sorry guys. Under BPSL, we again changed the responsibility of guest speakers and the Senate retreat from VP to BPSL and vice versa. That's line 7. Just kind of updated the wording on line 8 about just kind of general BPSL work in connecting senators with people to meet their goals. Line 9, the BPSL shall be responsible for all matters regarding recruitment of new senators. And then the new line we added, the BPSL shall work collaboratively with other members of UMSG to expand UMSG's visibility and brand on campus. The BPSL position is new. I think Jacob, Vice President Chaplin, apologies, is the 3rd person in 3 years to hold this position. So it's new, but I think that's kind of an important change to add, kind of like collaborating with the Director of Communications there on like brand and visibility. ABPSC, the only big change that was made other than some like syntax changes was again updating CASE to CSI. DOC, the only thing that was changed was deleting the responsibility for arranging and sending all thank you notes, condolence, acknowledgements, and packages at the discretion of the president. I don't think that needs to be in their job description. If we need to send something, you know, if I need to send something, I can talk with Hope about it, but I probably won't talk with Hope about it because I don't feel like it's Hope's job to send my packages or write my thank you notes.
You should write mine.
Under Director of Technology, we made some good changes. Line 2 was deleted because it was just completely redundant, and then we added the word hardware, technologies, and computer software to line 1 to just like cover both bases. Line 5 is a sizable change. Shall be solely responsible for leading updates to and maintenance of the UMSG Inc. website by coordinating with other UMSG Inc. employees, including but not limited to the executive administrative assistant, that's Jeff, and the vice president for student organizations, which obviously is Julia. Other UMSG Inc. syntax updates, we deleted line 10 about assisting the BPSE with digital media because we felt like that was included in other job description lines. And then at the recommendation of Sean, line 11 was added to ensure prioritization of confidentiality, data integrity, access, that should read and security in all responsibilities. Under FETC, we added shall conduct elections of any other recognized student government organization that requests assistance, just kind of like clarifying some of the wording there. Line 7, to coordinate with the executive administrative assistant of UMSG to create a permanent file for the election results for future reference. Basically, like the way that this was worded before, that FETC chair only had, like it was their sole responsibility to do this, when in reality, Jeff does a lot of that, so I added that to kind of clarify and modernize it. So resolve the descriptions of president, vice president, BPFA, et cetera, shall be amended and updated to better meet the needs of UMSG Inc. And then lastly, if we're deleting or adding lines, I just wrote a resolve that all numbering of required job tasks be fixed to reflect their new wording. I'm happy to answer any questions on it. I'll clarify the 3 amendments that I think should be made, just like updating sentence structure and stuff.
Does anyone have any questions for the speaker? Senator Waddles?
I think I have a point of privilege, maybe. I'm pretty sure that this was 400 and the other polypo resolution was 301. I'm not sure if that impacts anything moving forward.
I don't.
That could
That's-
also-
I was just gonna say the correct one. I would fix my point.
Any other questions on the speaker? What is the committee's recommendation?
400 had to pass with stipulation, which has been fulfilled.
Looking for. Senator Uther?
Motion to approve the recommendation.
Second.
With the Senate's approval, that passes. We're entering a period for discussion. Senator Michaud.
I don't know if it's touched on, but like, let's just say if there was an emergency during the summer, how much would they be getting paid, the president?
We would have to iron that out in the financial policies. That would just be like a later discussion. And honestly, that hasn't been like completely fleshed out. I would assume that they would be getting paid the same base pay rate for the specific hours that they worked and tracking those hours. But again, that is like a completely different resolution. So I'm not sure. I haven't entertained all of those discussions and talked about it with Sean and Pam.
I just want to comment on that. As a person who does work full year, there's never been a summer where we haven't called on the exec to come in and address issues or be on the phone and address issues. So I have to believe that the exec are also always willing to donate some of their time, but I just want to put it out there that the presidents have been working for free in the summers for many, many years in the past. It would be nice to acknowledge them a little bit. Just a thought.
And can I go on that too? Just to clarify, this isn't like a point of debate, but like this wouldn't affect me. And if there's any graduating seniors in the room, I didn't clarify this in my opening statement, but these job description resolutions wouldn't necessarily like affect any of the like executives currently like in their roles. It's really more for the execs that we'd be hiring. So these job descriptions are ones that we'd be advertising when we're opening up hiring for other people.
Vice President Nolan?
Yeah, in regards to the audit happens during the summer, it happens at the end of June and the beginning of July. So similar to what Advisor Sadako said, the past BPFAs have graciously like donated their time, answering questions on the phone and by email from the auditors and working with Pam to just make sure that everything is prepared. But there is audit work that is done over the summer because the auditors physically come in and begin the audit process over the summer.
In the period of discussion, any other? Moving into a period for debate. Senator Peterson?
I move to amend the required job tasks of the president job description shall be amended to read as line 9 by striking the words of the GSS.
Entering a period of discussion on the amendment. Period for debate on the amendment. Right, all those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? Seeing a clear majority, that amendment passes. Now going back to the actual policy, the now amended in the period for debate still. Senator Oldfield,
I'm wishing to amend the resolution to read, whereas the paragraph has been PSC line to read update physical quote, how to, and then like actual quotation marks.
entering a period for discussion on this amendment. A period for debate on the amendment. All those in favor? All those opposed? Seeing a clear majority, that amendment passes. And now moving back to a period for debate on the original policy now amended.
All of these updates are things that we either already do or, should be doing, but most of them are things that we already do. In specific regards to the working over the summer for the VPFA and the president, even though we're not physically here, life still goes on, people are in classes, people are on the university campus. So I think that it is a good thing that we have that in those job descriptions, because hypothetically, if we did have a VPFA or a president who did not want to volunteer their time, and there was some sort of emergency, this would make sure that they are sort of like required to address that emergency should it come up in the summer.
Also, I would like to clarify, like kind of another point about summer work. Sean and I are kind of looking at like how to tackle that. But again, that's like a financial resolution amendment and doesn't really have much to do with this specific resolution. But I just think it's like really necessary, just because like an emergency hasn't come up in recent memory doesn't mean that it won't. And I think it's really critical that we have like a policy in place that allows for an emergency to be addressed if something should take a considerable amount of time or a considerable amount of work.
Director of Technology Goods.
Point of information directed at the speaker. Let's see, 1 second here.
You were just on it.
No. There's something I'm looking for. Where is it? Okay. Is the is the MM part supposed to be there?
That's not in my copy, so I don't believe so. And I would also encourage a
It's on
senator,
this one here, so I was just checking.
I mean, a senator could amend that if they wanted to. And then I would also encourage the Senate to amend, sorry, let me find it. The last line of the UMSG job description to add the word "and" before the word "security."
I move to amend VPFA job description shall be amended to read as follows, line 10 by striking the .nm at the end of line.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Entering a period of discussion for the amendment. A period of debate. All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? Seeing a clear majority, that amendment passes. Moving back to Senator Temple.
I'd just like to make a point that I really appreciate all the work that was done on this, but for the committee that worked on this, could in the future be a little bit better about edits and things like this, so we don't have to take so much time in Senate meeting to do these very minor amendments.
Is there a period of debate on the policy itself? Any points for debate? Seeing, oh, sorry, Vice President Ogle.
It's, a few weeks ago, feels like forever ago, I brought the, job descriptions for our representatives. This is just, under like President Delors's administration to kind of clean up some of our documents, and I think this is like a necessary part of it. In that it outlines more of what we actually do. Sometimes you just have to update the documents every so often, and this is a year that we felt like we could really dive into the technology behind them, so I think we'll support that.
I move to amend DOT job description shall be amended. Line 11, so it reads data integrity, access, and security.
Is there a period of discussion for the amendment? A period of debate? All of those in favor? All of those opposed to the amendment? Seeing a clear majority, that amendment passes. Now we're back with the policy and the period for debate.
Yes.
Second.
Discussion, moving previous? Let's take a vote. Okay, all those in favor of moving previous? All those opposed? We're now moving to previous. Yeah. All those in favor of voting on the policy as amended, raise your hand. All those opposed? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. So, do you see a Maine security representative? Taking any nomination at this time for security representative? Senator Chapman? This is what Vice President Chapman.
I nominate Senator Pearson. I respect the decline.
Senator Thompson?
I nominate Senator Waters.
Second.
Okay, I respectfully decline.
Vice President Chapman?
I nominate Senator Patton.
Respect the decline. Senator Moulton?
I nominate Senator Brown.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Flynn?
Nominate Senator Harvey.
Second.
I accept. Senator Wong?
Nominate Senator Ryder Stewart.
I accept.
Second.
Vice President Ogle?
Oh, I nominate Senator Rocky.
Vice President Lund?
You didn't do the second one.
Senator Crawford?
I nominate Senator Jernigan. Say it.
That sounds pronounced, but I respectfully decline.
Vice President Allen?
I'd like to nominate Senator Burghardt.
I accept. Senator Thompson?
I nominate Senator Warren.
I accept.
Second. Vice President Ogle?
I'd like to nominate Senator Crawford.
Second.
Fine. Nominations. Moving to nominations for the Executive Budgetary Committee. It meets on Monday at 4 p.m., so you should be able to make that time.
Me to be able to make that.
Senator Pearson?
I nominate myself.
Second.
I accept.
Any other nominations? Senator Button? Nominate Senator Carlson?
Second.
Any other nominations? Vice President Allen?
I'll nominate Senator Rocky.
Second.
Sorry. Vice President Allen?
I'll represent Senator Burghardt.
Second.
Representative.
I nominate Senator Warren.
Okay.
I respectfully decline, I can't make that.
Any other nominations for electoral budget committee? Senator Button?
Nominate Senator Harvey.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, move to speeches. We're gonna move to speeches for University of Maine Security Representative. Starting with Senator Brown.
Hi, I'm Senator Brown, and I accepted the security nomination for security. but just like, I haven't been on a committee before, or not committee, in a position like this before, but I find the security to be a very interesting and I think a perfect learning experience. And I've always found it interesting, security. Apologies, I'm not much of a public speaker, but I find it very interesting amongst the to be able to learn the current workings of like the police, interact with police and actually, I respectfully decline or rescind my nomination. I'm not very good at speaking, and I feel like to be better, someone else better than me.
Senator Harvey, for his speech.
Okay. Hello, everybody, I'm Senator Harvey. I think that the security, I think I'd make a great security representative. I appreciate the nomination. I can't wait to talk to our officers in blue about our community, learn more about what's going on in our community and more about things that I don't know. Thank you.
Senator Wiley. Yeah.
Well, this may be my only second week here, but I feel like I'd be a great addition for the security position. You know, I've always been interested in what law enforcement does and security details. So I think, you know, that paired with my confidence and my good looks, I'd be great for this position. I would be happy to accept.
I don't know who
Did Ward get nominated?
Senator
Bogarts, yeah, I'm so sorry. I resent my nomination.
Okay, Senator Bowen.
So I think it's really important that students get to have a clear line of transparency and communication between the security representatives and our student body as a whole. And I would really be honored to be able to bridge that gap. For Maine campus, for example, Sophia is leading our police beats. You know, we always have tons of students reading those. And I think it's really important to know what's going on in your community to be able to not feel like you can't talk to security representatives, but be able to have a good line of communication with them and have a good working relationship with them. And that's something that I would be honored to do.
Point of information, I don't think we ever went over what the duties of this position were.
Is there someone who's been in this position before who'd like to talk about the position, about yours?
So I'm not quite sure what former Senator Hensall did in this position, but at least I know that the basic formalities of it are every 2 months over Zoom, there's a security committee meeting made up of a lot of faculty around the campus led by Jeremy Chubbuck of Auxiliary Services. Pretty much all that you have to do is attend those meetings, make sure to take notes of whatever projects they're currently focusing on. The security committee has a very small budget, so don't expect a whole lot of stuff to report, and then that's also a great opportunity for you to report to that committee what you think the undergrad student body values the most when it comes to campus safety and security.
I don't think so. I think it's so. Senator Harvey, Senator Wiley.
Readers who were.
I know, it's readers who.
It'll take time.
I'm done. Readers who, and Senator Bowen, are the 3 nominees.
Oh, yep.
Please raise your hand if you can vote and would like to take the risk.
And you can vote if you're a senator, so there's the key answer to that.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah. While voting is ongoing, we're gonna start speeches for the electoral budget committee position, starting with Senator Peterson.
So I believe that I would be very well versed on this committee. Finances isn't something that I've really been able to take part in this institution, but I figured better late than never. I figured I should go. If I'm gonna go the full 4 years with student government inc, I might as well be as well versed as possible. I think that it'd be a great opportunity to learn another corner of this organization that I'm not totally familiar with. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Senator Thompson.
So, both clubs and NIC is something I'm pretty interested in. I'm a very numbers-oriented person, and I'm very fascinated in the budget process. I've been coming for this position since elections. I had to miss last time, so unfortunately didn't get to speak again, but I'm glad I have a second shot. And yeah, my Mondays are pretty free, so I can spend 6 hours at a budget meeting. That's fortunate. And I'd love to just get to know the process as part of student government.
Okay, so if you could.
I rescind my nominations.
Well, congratulations to Senator Woven on security representative. Nominations over, we'll be moving on to the BPFA discussion.
Hi, everyone. This is gonna be very short. Senator Ricker brought to my attention a project that he wanted to investigate about possibly paying for club sports dues for students who are financially insecure, especially for those sports who are inherently more expensive and charge more dues, like hockey or lacrosse or sports that are just more expensive than like soccer, or that's a silly example, but more expensive than others. So I put together a survey, a bunch of club sports officers filled it out. They said that basically there is a need, but mostly only for those sports that are much more expensive. Usually when club sports officers are approached by someone who can't afford to pay dues, they do it in a payment plan, or they offer them to volunteer more instead of paying for dues. So Senator Ricker and I met with Sean today, and it's in our financial policies that we actually can't pay for dues. But what we're going to be doing is Sean advised that if a club, say a sports club who is charging pretty hefty dues, if they wanted to submit an additional funding request, and we could possibly entertain that for something that dues would pay for, such as like facilities rentals or things that were covered under our financial policies, that EDC and the GSS could entertain that if necessary. So the short of it is we can't pay for dues, and I should have read the financial policies just a hair better. But those sports or clubs, it's just that club sports are a little bit more expensive than normal clubs, who do have students who are facing financial insecurity as a barrier to joining those clubs, can submit an additional funding request in order to bring that number of dues down. So abbreviated discussion, but that's all I have to say.
With the end of new business, we are now moving on to special orders and announcements. Any member of UMSG can address the GSS for not more than 5 minutes. Representative Guzman.
Tomorrow, I will be having a presentation, an educational presentation in the Multicultural Student Center from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. It's called the Afro-Latin Connection. It's an educational presentation on Afrocentrism in Latin America. You should be there. It'll be a good time.
No more votes, no, I thought, sorry, send it back.
Tomorrow on the University Mall, from 9 AM to 2 PM, Teak will be selling coffee and hot chocolate to raise money for St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Send it over.
I just wanted to say that to anyone that entered the raffle today for midday meal pack-out, thank you. It's really exciting to be able to see this all coming together and culminating into something really wonderful. I can't believe we've already surpassed our goal of 50,000 meals. And I also want to clarify that whatever we raise after that is just going to go to getting more food on the table for families in Maine, people in Maine experiencing food insecurity. So even if you're donating $1, even if you're just donating your time, that is really invaluable to us as we proceed with the Maine Day Meal Pack-out, and you are appreciated.
Props to Senator Rickard at running his first general student. He made it look pretty easy, but I assure you it's not easy and it's stressful to talk and run Robert's rules in front of a really full room, and he did a great job. So, thank you, Josh.
Any other special rules and announcements? Send the fund.
Yeah, just a quick reminder, CANS meets tomorrow, between 5 and 5:30 in the Wade Center. I'd love if you guys can.
Any other special rules and announcements? Send the oath.
Come to my dance class tomorrow from 6 to 7 in Foster Room at the rec center.
Special rules and announcements. Representative Clickwell?
I was just gonna mention once again that I'm gonna stay after for a couple minutes in case anyone wants to be put on either person or static action, just so you know. Thank you.
Special rules and announcements. Seeing none, moving on to final roll call. It is vote for the previous call.
Ian Crawford. Cynthia Shelmerdine. Here. Nate Fang.
Here.
Ken